In this slide, we are going to see tipping points. The tipping points are not directly linked to the syllabus, but these are very important if you have to understand some of the concepts related to climate risk. So, if you want to understand IPCC, then assessment reports, also while understanding integrated assessment model scenarios, then if you have to create some localized scenarios for different corporates which are scattered across the world, or which has got supply chain from different parts of the world, and also if you want to quantify or understand the exposure of corporates to tipping points, or in case if you have to understand country specific risks and country specific scenarios starting as a result of climate change, so the concept of tipping point becomes very important. Now coming to the topic and definition of tipping point. So a climate tipping point or any tipping point in any complex system is where a very small change can make a big difference and changes the state or even the fate of a system. Now these tipping points are thresholds where a tiny change can push an entire system into a completely new state. Now from climate risk point of view, various tipping points has been given in IPCC's assessment report. So I would request you to go through this report to have better understanding of the climate risk and how these tipping points tend to magnify the impact of climate risk. So some of the examples of tipping point which has been given in the assessment report are Atlantic Meridian overturning circulation. So it is also known as AMOC. Basically, it is a system of currents in the Atlantic Ocean that brings warm water up to Europe from the tropic and beyond. Then comes West Antarctic ice sheet disintegration, or WAIS. So the impact of this tipping point is such that if WAIS it holds so much ice that if it disintegrates, then it will lead to global sea level rise by around 3.3 meters. Then Amazon rainforest, which is lung of planet Earth. So these are largest rainforests in the world. Then other tipping point is related to West African monsoon shift. Then another tipping point is permafrost and methane hydrates. So permafrosts are generally name given to ground, soil or rock, and these are a quarter of non-glacial land, and these have got vast amount of carbon stored and accumulated from dead plants and animals over thousands of years in them, and the amount of carbon is about twice as much carbon in permafrost than is currently in the Earth's atmosphere. Then the tipping point may impact coral reefs, which may die off because of mass bleaching events in warm water corals. Then other tipping point is related to Indian monsoon shift, where India gets about 90% of rainfall during the monsoon, and the South Asian monsoons subsystem of the wider Asian monsoon is going to impact the about 2 billion population which lives in Indian subcontinent. Then the Greenland ice sheet disintegration. So it holds enough water to raise global sea level by 7.2 meters. At present, it is adding about 0.7 millimeter per year in sea level rise. Then the other tipping point is boreal forest shift. Now coming to impact of tipping point, these may have impacts on different types of companies. So coming to impact of tipping point on insurance companies, it may lead to increased insurance claim and higher cost for insurance companies. For agriculture and food companies, it may disrupt the supply chain and it will have significant change on agriculture, including changes in growing seasons, water availability and crop yields. For transportation companies, these tipping points may lead to some of drastic policy changes which may affect the companies. For real estate companies, these tipping points can lead to rising sea level, which and may lead to increased flooding. So the impact of these climate tipping points on different companies will depend on variety of factors, including the specific nature of tipping point and the company's exposure to climate related risks and the actions taken. However, climate change poses significant risk to global economy and to individual companies, and businesses will need to adapt and innovate in order to navigate this rapidly changing landscape. So, with the understanding of these tipping points, it will be useful for you to understand how impact of climate change may get amplified because of a small change in the state of these factors, which will lead to a new state and which may translate to economic impact on different companies.